Now as I sit here, it's an extremely peaceful state. I won't even call it a state. It simply is. It's really hard to explain. I'm very deep in consciousness. So much so that I'm simultaneously aware that I am everything going on right now. All the sound, even beyond the sound, the vibratory, phenomenal creation. So deep that I have to slowly open the eyes and, wow, behold the light. The wonderful physical sight. Even in darkness, everything is so bright because of the light that shineth from within. Whether the eyes are closed or open, because the third eye is open. If thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. And currently, as I said, deep in consciousness, the body is very in the periphery. Again, because I'm simultaneously aware that I am all that surrounds me. There's a complete unity and harmony with all of the world. And ironically, this is possible when we transcend the world, when we're in the world but not of it, when we're not living and being and trying to get anything out of it, to extract anything from it. And we realize that this is it, the eternal moment. That is the bliss of transcendence, my friend. To realize that there is no beginning and end. To allow the spontaneity of your existence to flow naturally as an expression of your transcendence. The bliss of your essence. The unmanifest that is now manifest as this is expressed. Not planned. Sitting here deep in consciousness, third time that has been said. Holy Trinity, God, divinity, infinity, in me, eternally. I say me, but I mean you too. I mean all of you. All of us. There is no fundamental difference in terms of our existential existence. Of course, there's that seeming paradox of the individual however, what inspired this? To avoid getting off on tangents. Although that's kind of hard when the expression is spontaneous. I'm sitting. We can label it meditating, grooving with all the surroundings. Thinking how all I used to know was the world. I thought that the prize was the end goal was a physical relationship with significant other, seeming other, with, we can say, a sexual partner. And subjectively, that made me a prisoner. It doesn't have to, but this is just from my personal experience, because I can continue to seek happiness on the external. In the form of another, because there is a lack of completeness and wholeness, because there's not that inner balance, which I spoke of in a recent video, of the masculine and feminine forces of existence. Because when these are in harmony and in full force, naturally, our life energy concentrates and rises up in the Sushumna Nadi, in the spine, the altar of the divine. We can liken this essence of existence, the life within us, to electricity. When this builds up within us, it's a pressure, and builds up abundantly, rises upwardly. This pressure builds up, and it's expressing now outwardly. However, when it builds up within us inwardly, and we contain it, it opens up the higher energy centers, and ultimately reveals divinity, which is outside the physical body. So when we transcend worldly desires, you saw 3 birds. I don't know if we captured those. Just speaking of the Holy Trinity, there's a synchronicity, seeing 3 birds in the world. Instantly manifest Christ, Jesus, his karma, because he was so high in consciousness, held a thought, whatever he held in mind, held in consciousness, manifest, instantaneous. And so synchronicity is continuous, as his existence is very harmonious. Notice how I say is and didn't say was, because I am is always in the present tense. Whenever you say was or will be, that's talking about past or future, which is illusory. Really, all that ever was or will be exists now, because creation is finished. And thus, really, you don't have to create anything. Simply be the channel for it to manifest. And how do you overcome this desirous personal will? Well, the easiest way is abstinence. Because when you commit to celibacy, or semen retention, abstinence, whatever label, your attachment to the body becomes very minimal. And when your attachment to the body is minimal, you become fearless. And when you're fearless, you're vigorous. There's a complete harmony with all of existence. And thus, there's determination. You naturally become a valiant, committed to full enlightenment, to the beyond, even while you exist within this physical body. You can straddle the different dimensions within you. Again, be in the world, but not of it. Be aware from within a body, but not identified with it. And it's really often difficult to put words and verbiage to that which is beyond the linear, the visible, the sequential, beyond the time-space stream, but simultaneously within it, as the non-linear is manifest as this physical and five-sensory, three-dimensional, visible experience. The unmanifest is now manifest as existence, and thus all is God. Who am I to judge what is evil and what is good? When I'm transcendent to both, I'm beyond good and evil. I say I am, but I mean you too. Again, when I see me or I am, I'm really talking about all of us. Because in the context of this one's subjective experience, there is no sense of separateness. And so I want to make this very clear. None of these videos on this channel are about Alex or his personal journey. I may use examples from what this one remembers, can recall in memory. However, it's only for relatability. It's not to make it about me. It's only to use it as an example. Well, this one has went through because I know that anything I can do, you can do. And vice versa, anything you can do, I can do. Anything anybody else has done, I can do. We can all do. Because we all have the same power, the same source within us. It simply manifests to different degrees, individually, depending on where one is at consciously, their degree of consciousness, their level of awareness. I'm aware that I am the energy flowing into the medulla oblongata, which is eternal. The eternal energy flowing into the body. But I am not this. Again, it's very in the periphery. But now, as the essence expresses outwardly, the pressure is being released. And what started at the beginning of this video, very deep in consciousness, so much bliss, now sharing this joyousness so that it can build up again and recycle eternally. And that's the thing with your sexual energy, is Jesus was never married. Imagine what happened to his seed. It just keeps getting recycled and building up eternally. The cycle, the process is eternal. When you never release it, it keeps building up. Imagine the abundance, the resources within the kingdom of heaven. What is the physical manifestation of the semen, the seed represent the life essence manifest. When that is not released, that builds up within us. I mentioned in a previous video, talking about the healing power of pure water when you commit to semen retention. The woman's monthly period, the woman's sexual process is in a cycle. However, a man's doesn't have to be. The power in her ovum and her egg is in a cycle. However, in a man, his seed can recycle within him eternally. He doesn't ever have to release it. Think of the power of that. And that energy, that power, that light carries on with you, with your soul, when you leave the physical body. It's crazy. Some people don't believe in transmigration of the soul, reincarnation. But when you're acutely aware of the energetic connectivity, connection of all of humanity, all of creation, there's a deep sense of responsibility. And thus, naturally, you want to commit to celibacy. It's not something that you have to force yourself to do, because you see your value. Not something somebody else has to convince you to do. Videos like this can serve as an example to motivate you. To say, wow, this person can do it, then I can do it. Again, whatever I can do, you can do it. If you asked me a few years ago, well, it's been 3 linear years, calendar years, approximately, since I committed to semen retention journey, but not to make it about me again. Sharing this, for example. But, say 5 years ago, you asked me, I would have thought you're crazy. Hell nah. I was deeply entangled in worldly desire. But sexual desire is really the root of all other desires. It's like death is the root of all other fears, the fear of death. And once you transcend the fear of death, once you realize that you can't die, well, then you're fearless. Same thing with abstinence. When you overcome sexual desire, in essence, you pretty much overcome all otherworldly desire. And then you don't even have to desire not to desire. You can simply be and exist and express your essence, effortless, and exist with absolute non-resistance, and enjoy the bliss and contentment of eternal spiritual existence. And you can share this joyousness, the joy founded in eternal silence, even as you express the words outwardly, as I am now. You can live vicariously through I am. Realize your subjective experience to be very profound. Realize that, in essence, the words that I speak are pure sound. And at the same time, they're concepts. They're related to the mind. They may seem in a sequence, but really they're beyond time. Because they're timeless. I'm aware of what was said previously, but at the same time now, even what was said a few seconds ago. This is the point. Okay? There's only so much that can be said. Only so much that can be conveyed through a phone screen. How can you say what your spiritual presence is through technology? But at the same time, this energy, this Christ energy, humanity can access throughout all the eternities. Wow, I just said eternities. Plural. There's multiple eternities, not just one. Again, the absolute is beyond conception. But to bring it down into the world via communication, well, this one accepts the challenge. And thus, that is the purpose of which is now manifest. As this, as these words expressed, as the essence, the birds singing, the sun shining, the breeze blowing, aware of the 5 elements, the physical existence, incorporated all those into the wonderful day today. And so I share this energy with you. The root chakra sitting on the earth, on the ground, went for a wonderful swim. Again, not to make it about me, but this energy is sharing with you now. Went on a swim, fasted most of the day, got a meal in. That earth transmuted it into fire, into light, to the sun. So there's this three elements to do with survival, right? Earth, water, fire. And then this expressed now has to do with sound, with air, with the heart, with love, with spirit, with wind, breath, the life breath, space, akash, ether, transcendence. That which intertwines all of existence. It's always with us. Of course, that's in this too. Wherever you are, whatever you do, I hope this brings you value. I hope you sense the value in this. Not that the value is Alex. The value is really impersonal. Manifest as a seeming individual person. But realize that the divine is always with you. It's not to be found in an individual person, in some super clean, untouched corner of the cosmos. It's everywhere. Wherever you are is holy ground. You can be sitting on a hospital ground. And your very presence can purify all the world around.